Guess what, guys? We're turning right on Sunday. NASCAR, COTA. Let's get into it. What is up, guys? Welcome to the Edge DFS. My name is Tyson Smith, joined by Sterling Theiss and Ryan Mahle from Dynasty DNA. What's up, guys? How you doing, man? How you guys doing?
Not bad. What's happening?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. Just caught the sort of, second half or last third of Xfinity race. What are your guys' thoughts based on what we saw with trucks and Xfinity? And, what are you expecting with this particular course? This is a road course. So what do we need to know that's different if for the casual people showing up that are trying to build some lineups? How big of a difference is this particular course?
I think the main difference is just the number of laps. Honestly, I mean, you're still want lap leaders, but it's not as important as what it is in, let's say, last week had 500 laps. So obviously you wanted the guy that led the most laps, but here it's only 68. So yeah, you don't have as many fast laps and laps led. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, that's pretty much probably only look for like one lap leader with the way this lineup is. Going to be a lot of place differential guys, and you're definitely not going to need a whole lot of dominator points because there's really only like 41 available. So
okay, yeah, I was going to say there's not much with a 68 lap race. So that's the one thing that always sticks out to me on these road courses.
And then the biggest thing with this is the cut in the course penalty, where if these guys we'll call it out of bounds, if they end up out of bounds, they have to do a pass through. So that's going to put them quite a bit back if they end up having to make a drive through the pits.
Which I actually like. I just hate it. I wish there was a way to I know other forms of race on here, so it's not like they can make changes just for NASCAR, but make it grass or something to where cars almost can't go.
Yeah.
I just hate the open, or just make it to where they can go wherever they feel like they can put their car, I guess. I don't know.
As long as it's nothing crazy, we've seen Cleverman just straight drive straight through the S's, didn't really make a turn at all.
Yeah. No, that's a little, but just cutting a corner a little bit, that drives me nuts when you have that guy and he cuts a corner by a couple inches and he's got it's frustrating.
Well, it seems if it happens early enough and they get sent to the back, it's recoverable. I mean, I think we saw that, today, but if it happens, with 10 laps to go or something, I mean, I think it's over for that guy, right?
Yeah. Yep. Pretty much. Yeah. You're done. You're done.
We've seen that with the SVG today in the Xfinity race. Last lap, he cut the corner and ended up finishing 27th or something. They scored him after he technically finished second.
I thought he was going to take it. I thought he was going to take that for sure. So let's talk about this with these road courses. Some of these drivers are more skilled than others. Right. So are there certain guys that we need, I know there are certain guys, but which guys and what are you guys focusing on as far as the boost for this particular race, and which drivers get a little bit more of a boost than others?
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, they used to call them road course ringers. I mean, they actually used to have guys that would come in and just run road courses. Nowadays, you do see that here and there with the SVGs in the Cup Series. SVG does have a full-time Xfinity ride, but we do have that SVG in the Cup. And what's that other guy, Kibashabi, or I don't know how to say his name,
Kamui Kobayashi or something.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, Tyler Reddick has been probably the most dominant road course ringer as of late. Would you agree with that, Sterling?
Yeah, he's definitely been one of the best in this next gen car.
Yeah, Chase Elliott kind of used to be. He's still I would say he's still a good road course guy, but before this new gen car, he was just dominant. Trying to think of other like just road course guys.
Allmendinger.
Allmendinger. Yep, that's a good one. Yeah. Allmendinger. He's another one that only runs. He runs a limited schedule in the Cup Series, and it's mostly, I want to say, if not all road courses. So he is another road course guy.
And then we saw Chastain win one of these 3 races here, didn't we, over the last year or two?
Yep.
Yeah, he won the 2022 race. That was actually his first career Cup win.
Yeah, if you haven't watched the finish of that, and that one was a pretty exciting finish.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
Never went back to the finish of that. That was a pretty good one.
Yeah, I'll have
him
to
and
check
Allman, they took turns like kind of spinning each other out, so it was pretty cool.
What are you guys thinking about these odds here? So Reddick and Gibbs both plus 350. Now Gibbs, we saw Larson win that Xfinity race. We saw Gibbs have success, and I think something happened where he fell back. What does that mean? And obviously SVG was leading towards the end there. He had a shot to win that. What does it mean when these guys race the day before for Xfinity and they do well? Like, are you prioritizing them? I know that's completely different equipment, but that's got to mean something, right?
Yeah, it definitely does. I think back in the day, I used to, like, probably even before DFS and this new gen car, I used to put a little bit more stock into it because the Xfinity car did act a lot like the Cup car.
Yeah.
So like you could put a little bit more stock in it, but I think you still put a little bit into it because these guys are seeing how the track is kind of changing. They might try different lines and might try different braking zones at some point. They might use this as kind of, I don't want to say a practice because obviously they still all ran good, but like they can more experiment in the Xfinity and not really, mess up their Cup day, They might be just kind of playing around a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So
would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely.
So, what did you guys notice? So we got a nice schedule for this weekend. We got a Friday, Friday practice and qualifying for trucks and Xfinity, and then Saturday qualifying. So a little bit earlier in the day. That's why it's nice to do a show with all the information on a Saturday night.
It's great.
Yeah, but what jumped out to you about practice for Cup? Obviously when we get into the breakdown, we'll talk about where these guys are, qualifying, but William Byron, Ty Gibbs, Reddick, Bell, top 4. What jumped out to you practice wise? And any weirdness with some of these guys that didn't qualify as well, maybe just having a bad run?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that jumps out to me, it's kind of stinks that it was only, what do I want to say, a half-hour practice for each group or something like that.
This week, since it was the first road course in this new package, they actually did 2 20-minute sessions.
Yeah, 20 minutes
each group. So
which each lap takes you 2 minutes and 10 seconds. So it's like not a lot of these guys really got going and could put a ton of laps down. So we didn't have a whole lot of data, but that's the first thing that sticks out is like you had a little bit of practice, but not a whole lot. So what stuck out to you, Stir?
What stuck out to me was Ty Gibbs. He was fast as fuck in that first session, and then he came out, was fast in the second session, then he came out and qualified second. So he definitely has speed. We've seen him. He was very fast in Xfinity. He's always been fast in Xfinity. But he actually had to start at the rear today in the Xfinity and drove up to the front. So with him starting second, he was the second fastest in practice. Yeah, actually. Man, I don't know. I'm all over Ty Gibbs.
Yeah, he's honestly due too. I mean, it seems like every week he's up towards the front battling and just something happens. Like Bristol, he was up there. Phoenix, he was up there. Yeah, I mean, they've got it figured out. He's due. He hasn't got a win yet, but he's knocking on the heels.
And this is the same package that they ran at Phoenix, and we've seen how their Toyotas perform there. So definitely another little edge for Ty Gibbs.
Yeah.
So if you guys haven't checked out the Rattled Cage podcast, you guys usually record that on Fridays, right? And release like late Friday night kind of a thing?
Yeah, Thursdays or Fridays. Yeah,
Got
either
it.
or. Yeah.
And that's nice. Like, I love it because it preps me for the weekend. You know, we don't have any data to talk about. You guys don't, but you guys get into the nitty gritty, kind of what happened last week, what you guys are expecting, what jumps out to you pricing wise without really seeing the numbers. And it really helps me get ready for the weekend. So make sure you guys check that out. That's on all of the, all the podcast platforms. But you guys talked about in that one, I'm pretty sure you guys mentioned RCR, hasn't really done great this year, but they typically excel at road courses. Is that right? Did I hear that right?
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Busch normally does. What is he starting today or tomorrow? 16th. So he could be a good place differential guy. He normally does run good on road courses. Austin Dillon, his teammate, not so much. I mean, he has glimpses, but yeah, Kyle Busch is normally the RCR guy there that it does do good at road courses. But yeah, they just been off to a slow start this year and starting 16th. I don't know what would you need from them, Sterling, to be optimal. I know you got the math there.
That's at 9,200, we would need 46 points to hit 5x. So really, just like a 9th, 8th place finish would be all right. And I think he can definitely do that.
Okay. Yeah, that's doable. So,
but the big thing about RCR is the fact that when it comes down to these strategy races, rather it's their different pit cycles or fuel mileage, they really seem to excel in these. But if I'm picking one of these RCR guys, I'm definitely going Kyle Busch over Austin Dillon. It's quite a big gap between the two, but it's definitely Kyle Busch over him.
Yeah, Austin Dillon, he's the Richard Childress' grandson, so he just kind of has the ride. I don't want to say he has a ride just because he's his grandson, but he definitely
just has the ride.
Just has the ride because he's his grandson. He kind of, I don't want to say underperforms in that car, but
I mean, he has won some crown jewels, so can't really.
Yeah, he's won a little bit, but he definitely should do a little bit better, honestly. And I like Austin Dillon and I like RCR. RCR is my favorite team, but yeah. So yeah, definitely pick Kyle Busch there.
So when it comes to, so you were mentioning Toyota is probably going to be the way to go in this one. Anything else advantage wise to go to any teams, anything like that before we get into this breakdown?
I just can't believe how slow Ford was in general.
Yeah, a lot of people were talking about that actually. So it kind of makes me wonder if all of these Ford guys are going to come in a little lower owned. So that's going to make me have a little bit more interest in them actually.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's good pivot. Like if because I mean, all of them just unloaded slow. That was another thing that jumped out at me. Toyota's fast. And I mean, Chevy was kind of just went Toyota, Chevy, and then Ford was just slow, kind of. So, I mean, where was the first Chevy? Who was the first Chevy starting?
First Chevy?
Yeah,
that'd be William Byron on the pole.
Oh yeah, William Byron did qualify on the pole, but other than that, what Corey LaJoie starting?
Yeah, which I have
no interest.
No interest for one yet. And I have no idea how he even did that.
Yeah, and then Ross Chastain starting 6th.
First Ford is Austin Cindric in 11th.
So they didn't even have a Ford in the top 10.
Wow,
that's crazy.
Wow. All right, guys. So obviously, it's important. You know, we do have ownership now, and obviously that'll get tightened up as we get closer. So it's very important, even though we have ownership and we're going to be able to make some of these calls. It's very important to get into that Discord for Dynasty DNA. It's a poppin' Discord. There's a lot of smart dudes in there. Very open for questions. It's not like a lot of Discords where you jump in and you got to worry about getting absolutely destroyed for asking a normal question. A lot of cool guys in there. Make sure you're in there because obviously we got Sterling's, we got SRT 41's breakdown that he posts in there. Probably posting that sometime in the morning, I'm guessing, Sterling, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So make sure you guys are in there. Are you guys doing your live show tomorrow?
I don't think.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
hey, that's fine. Jump in their Discord. Jump in the Edge DFS Discord as a companion piece for NASCAR, as well as us here at the Edge. Me, Ellie, and Scott Dradamas are going to start UFL spring football, XFL and USFL merged. We got UFL. I'm pretty sure it's going to be like 100K up top in the big contest for week 1. We're going to record a show Wednesday night, so make sure you guys subscribe to this channel. We're going to still do NASCAR. We got a lot of stuff coming up here, so make sure you guys subscribe, and let's get into this breakdown. Break it down! All right, guys. So, how do you want to talk about this? You want to go position, you want to go groupings like top 10 and talk about that and just go down the list? Is that how you guys kind of want to do it?
Yeah, with this race, I think going by our starting position would make the most sense.
All right.
So Byron, Gibbs, Reddick, top 3. You got Christopher Bell, LaJoie, Chastain, Truex, Hamlin, who we saw win last week, right? Chase Elliott, and Bubba Wallace in the top 10. Who jumps out to you as guys that are, that we're really going to go heavy on? And first of all, just DFS strategy in general for this particular race. Are we locking dudes on this one? Like, I know that that's scary to do in NASCAR, but it is very beneficial. If you get it wrong, you get it wrong. But when you get it right, you are going to crush most likely. So how are we handling things for this race, considering all of these potential penalties? Are you going heavy? Are you getting around 50% as your top owned guy? Are you doing 90% for some of these dudes? Like, where are you guys going for this race? And let's talk about some of those guys that you might be interested in maybe locking in.
William Byron's interesting to me because he doesn't really stand out to me as a road racer. I don't know if he does to use Sterling. I don't know how he's done in other ones. That one kind of, when he qualified on the pole, I was kind of like, huh. I mean, maybe he's done better than I thought, but
he does have a win at Watkins Glen last season. But yeah, he's not terrible, but he definitely doesn't stand out to me as a road course guy.
And you guys talked about on the podcast, I think you brought him up specifically that you just weren't really interested in him before you knew where he was placing. Is that still kind of how you're rolling, or now that he's on the pole, your opinion has changed a little bit?
What's his ownership look like? What's
about 15% probably.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm seeing him a little more than that at 25.
Oh,
okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm probably more out on him. I'm looking at the guys starting second and third. I love Ty Gibbs here, and I love Tyler Reddick. I don't know how you feel, Sterling, but
I definitely agree with that. But
okay,
I don't know. I would definitely go Gibbs or Reddick over Byron.
That's how I'm feeling personally too. So, but as far as them other guys, what's the other guys? Bell's kind of a good road racer too.
Yeah.
So that might not be a bad play. I'll probably sprinkle some Bell in here and there. Corey LaJoie.
That's a no-go.
Yeah, I don't know how he qualified there. I'm out on him. Ross Chastain, I might sprinkle a few in. Truex.
I could definitely see Truex. I like Truex here.
Yeah, he's kind of an old, might be there at the end. Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, I'll probably sprinkle a few. Well, 10-3 is a salary.
Yeah, definitely pricey. That's going to depend on how many lineups you build. I'm building for the 150, so I'm going to have a little bit of them. But if you're just doing 10 to 20, I could see fading him. But my favorite in this top 5, it's kind of hard for me to actually pick between Gibbs, Reddick, and Bell. But for the top 10, I'm not playing more than 2 guys inside the top 10.
Yeah, that's a good strategy. Because, like I said, there's not a lot of laps to be led or a lot of fast laps. So if you could pick a guy and hope that he gets to the front at some point. even if you have a guy that's not leading, I don't think it'll burn you too bad as long as you can get a lot of place differentials. So,
yeah, and it seems like the Sims are, saying that William Byron right now is like the top dude as far as laps led with like 10, and fastest laps like around 5. Now, obviously, these are Sims. These are thousands of simulations, kind of breaking it down into sort of a median projection on these things. But I like to look at this stuff to kind of get an idea what these other sources are thinking. Go ahead.
I think we're going to see this kind of play out like the end of that Xfinity race. I think Tyler Reddick is going to give William Byron the bumper going into turn 1, and that's going to open the door up for him to take the lead. And I think Reddick leads early in this race. So I don't know if Byron leads at all, to be honest.
Yeah, that turn 1 is gnarly, man. Like, you're right. We could see Byron fall back to 3rd or 4th right off the bat and just never get back up there.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is a 3-point-something mile track. So,
yeah, like almost 3.5 miles.
And them guys, Ty Gibbs and Tyler Reddick, those are probably 2 of the top 4 best road course. Maybe not, but they're definitely going to be nipping on his heels.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs and Tyler Reddick are definitely going to be all over Byron.
Yeah.
I don't see Byron leading more than like 5 laps, if that.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So obviously tomorrow in your write-up, you'll have some more specific data about this as far as where you're going. But is Ty Gibbs or Reddick or even both of these guys kind of 60, 70% exposure type guys that we want to utilize?
Probably in my lineups. I don't make as many as Sterling, but I'll let Sterling elaborate. But in my lineups, I'll probably have either one of them or I'll have both of them in a lot.
Yeah, I probably won't have more than like 50% of anybody, but the majority of the lineups that I start with these guys up front, I'm going to go Tyler Reddick, Ty Gibbs, Christopher Bell in that order. I would not play Reddick and Bell together, but I could see playing one of them with Gibbs because of the pricing.
So it feels like you could do like a min 1 Gibbs, Reddick, Bell group, right? Is that too risky? You're probably going to have 50% Gibbs, 45% Reddick or whatever it is. How often are you playing Gibbs and Reddick together? Because Gibbs is relatively priced.
Yeah, at 8,700, he doesn't need to do anything crazy. He's going to need to lead a little bit and get some fast slaps and finish top 5, which I think is very doable for him. But as far as playing them together, I could see limiting that to like 15%, and that's kind of a stretch in itself.
Got it. That's good to know. Good to know. All right. So anything else to add with these top 10 dudes? You want to move to like 11 to 20?
We'll kind of hit on the back half of the top 10 real quick.
Okay.
My favorite down there would be Martin Truex and Chase Elliott. And then I'd go Denny Hamlin and Chastain, but I'm not going to play more than 2 guys inside the top 10. I probably won't have more than one of those guys. So
potential fade alert potentially with Byron, depending on where his ownership comes in. If you're seeing him at 25, I'm seeing him around 13. I trust your ownership more. I think the way SaberSim likes to do their ownership is less around the industry and more about their numbers. And I think it's moving closer to where you guys are seeing ownership from your sources. So if he's 25% owned, is that a potential like half the field or X out and just, if he wins or if he crushes, just close the laptop and move on to the next week?
I will definitely be under that. I don't know if I'll X him. I'll definitely build some with him, but I'll be under that 25% for sure.
Yeah. I'll probably make 10-ish lineups, and I don't think I'll have any of them. I'm just going to hope that he gets passed on lap 1 and then just hope that, yeah.
Yeah, and a strategy here is, I know that Sterling, you usually will max out that big contest. I don't know if you mix in a mini max or anything like that. Do you typically grab a 20 max or anything just as like a pivot or a hedge?
Sometimes, yeah. Just kind of depends on what the week is, how I feel about it. But this week, it's probably going to be. I'll probably do that $4.20 max too.
Yeah, that's a nice contest for sure. Yeah, yeah. Like I like to do the mini max, and then I'll do all the 20 maxes, and then my mini max as its own portfolio, and then the 20 maxes, about 80 lineups as its own portfolio, and depending on how I'm feeling. I'll usually find a guy that has that if you can leverage, like a guy like William Byron, and say, maybe I'm gonna have to field in my mini max, and maybe I X him out completely, or vice versa. Maybe I'm with the field, and maybe I X him out in the other portfolio of lineups. I think that's kind of an interesting way of doing that. Or if you're playing less lineups, if you got a high dollar single entry or something, and then your GPPs, you could hedge a little bit. So, is that how a lot of these NASCAR guys are playing? I haven't had time to really study a lot of these guys and how they build and their portfolio of lineups. Are they hedging, or are they just going balls to the walls and saying, this is it? If I'm right, then I'm going to be real right.
For the most part, it's the latter there. If you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. But I mean, you don't see a whole lot of hedging going on, but I do know a couple guys that they'll take the highest owned PD guy projection and then the highest owned dominator projection and just X those guys out and let the optimizer do its thing. And the guys I know that do that, they are actually profitable over the season. So it's definitely a strategy to take. But for me, I just try and pinpoint how the race is going to go. And if I'm right, it's going to be a big night. And if I'm wrong, it's going to be a disgusting day.
Like Bristol was last week for pretty much everybody that I know. That was right. All right, let's move on. Sorry, I brought up Bristol. You guys are over there in a bad mood now. Sorry about that.
It's all
good. All right, so I heard you guys talk about Austin Cindric a little bit. Now we've been he's been a fade candidate recently in some of these races. What makes him interesting for you guys on this course? He's starting 11th, 7,200. There's some decent value there. Does he jump out as an interesting option? I'm seeing him, maybe around 15% ish ownership, starting at 11th. What do you think?
So he grew up. I don't know the exact racing series. Sterling probably knows more than I do, but he grew up racing road courses. Like, he didn't grow up on the dirt tracks like most of these guys did. But I know that he grew up racing road courses. I can't remember the exact series. Sterling's looking it up right now. So that's what kind of sticks out as far as the name is. He is a full-time Cup guy. He's not just a road course ringer, but he does have that road course background.
He ran that US F2000 National Championship, which is kind of like IndyCar Lights in a sense.
Yeah, I knew he grew up racing. Yeah, so he grew up on the road courses, so he probably understands, the braking zones, the arcs, the ins and the outs of, how to brake at certain times and make your car steer better. Like, there's just a lot of ins and outs on a road course that, a lot of these guys don't really understand, so.
And that's where he made his name in NASCAR. He came into Xfinity racing for Penske. He originally only ran a limited schedule, and it was all the road courses. And he was always up front. He won quite a bit of them. Eventually got moved up to Cup. He's kind of struggled in this next gen car, but recently he's starting to kind of turn it on a little bit, show a little bit of speed. Now starting 11th, it's definitely going to make him lower owned, but at 7,200, I'm seeing him come in around 8%. I'm going to be a little bit over that just to try and be a little bit different. And I could see him actually finishing like top 5, to be honest.
Yeah, he does. Like, it's weird because there was road courses where he'd come out and he just looked terrible, and then there's road courses where he came out and looked good. Like, I remember Sonoma the one year, he just was in the back the entire race, and I don't know why. I don't know if something was amiss on the car or what, because But yeah, he has come out and looked good then too.
In 2022, in the six road course races, he finished top 8 in 4 of them. Now, last season in the 6 road course races, he finished top 15 in 4 of them, top 6 in 2 of them, but he did have a couple that he finished outside the top 20. So, but like I said, I'm going to have a little bit of Austin Cindric this week for sure.
There's some juicy guys in this 11 to 20 range. You got SVG, you got Dinger. SVG's at 9,500, Dinger's at 8,800, Kyle Larson 10.2. You talked a little bit about Kyle Busch at 9,200, Bowman at 7,700, Busher. I heard you guys talk quite a bit about Busher on the podcast, 7,800. Are these all guys that you're super interested in? And, are you making any groups here to try to utilize some of these dudes that maybe are better fit for a course like this?
Yeah, I mean, I know Busher. I'm kind of high on. He seems to always run up front on these road courses. Allmendinger, Sterling could probably more elaborate on this. He's switching car. He's not running the same car as what he normally does. Do you think it's the same equipment?
It's definitely same equipment. Probably just it's in a sense it could actually be something huge because Allmendinger is kind of like colleagues, research and development guy. So if they got something they want to try, he's going to be the guy that tries it out and is like, this isn't working or this is fucking awesome. Let's do it more often. And I think we're probably going to see it be the latter there where they're trying something new that is going to end up being a big hit. And him starting 14th, I think we see him inside the top 5, and that's going to be almost a must-have at that point.
Yeah, then we got Larson. We got Larson there at 15th. He won the Xfinity race
that he had to start last there because he changed brake rotors.
So he's definitely a guy I'm interested in. Alex Bowman always seems to run good here too. He was a guy that, if you go back and watch that Chastain victory, he was honestly he looked like he was going to win there for a little bit when Chastain and the Dinger were beating and banging. So he always seems to find his way to the front here. He's another guy that's kind of struggled so far this year. We'll see if this week kind of turns it around for him. But
in the 3 races at COTA, the worst Bowman has finished is 8th. But in the 2 next gen races, his worst finish is 3rd. So
wow,
that's a good stat. Yeah, so Bowman, that might be a guy we circle. Yeah. I actually didn't know that.
Now, just looking at projections. Now, obviously, this isn't these aren't the Bible. This just to kind of give you a good idea as to what these guys are looking like compared to other guys. Justin Haley at 5,800. 15 fantasy points. Hocevar. Are these guys that are these uncheckable guys that you're not getting any exposure to? Or are you kind of interested in maybe sprinkling in like 5% or something like that, Sterling?
I don't know if I'm really going to have any Justin Haley at 5'8", starting 13th. The big thing for him is the equipment he's in. He's in that Rick Rare racing, and that's probably the absolute bottom tier equipment in the Cup Series. But then as far as Carson Hocevar, he's extremely aggressive. And I think at some point he's going to get one of those pass-through penalties here for cutting the course. So I don't really have.
Yeah, Justin Haley, like you said, he is in the worst equipment, I think, in the field. And he's not, I could be wrong, but I don't think he really nothing stands out to me as far as being a road course guy. So
the big thing about Haley is he was teammates with AJ Allmendinger for a good portion of his career. So he does have one of the best road course racers that mentored him for quite a while. But the thing is, it goes back to that equipment he's in, and I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah.
So each one of you guys, if you had to choose one dude, gun to your head, from this 11 to 20 range here in this grouping, who you picking?
11 to 20. So where's Busher starting? Is that 21st or 20?
20th.
20th. I think I'm going to go either Busher or Bowman. Gun to my head, I don't know Bowman's stats. That does stick out to me, so I might go Bowman. But Busher's a close second.
Yeah, I agree with that. Spot on. Love Bowman and I love Buescher. I'm gonna have a lot of both of them.
Yeah, me too.
All right, let's move on here to some of these other guys in the 20s and 30s. We won't limit it. We'll just kind of talk about all these dudes. Who's jumping out to you? It looks projection-wise, McDowell looks to be interesting. He's picking up a lot of ownership from what I'm seeing. Blaney picking up like 22% ownership, Chase Briscoe even. And then you start to get down here into the very back. Logano, Keselowski. Some of these guys are super high owned. Like I crunched some test runs with no settings or no groups or really anything, and I had 100% Logano. So what are we doing here with these dudes 20 and back? Like a lot, we got to focus on PD points for this one. How low are you going here? Are you going to the very back, or are you sticking with some of these bigger names that are running a little bit farther back of the field?
Joey Logano, he's just, I don't know what's going on with him this year, but I don't want to say I'm going to fade him, and I don't know how you feel, Sterling, but like I think until he proves something this year, I think I've been burned enough by him.
It's the thing about him is I'm seeing him as the highest owned projected to be the highest owned, and I mean, really, when I think of Joey Logano at a race like a road course, I immediately think of his crew chief, who is known for making these strategy calls that somehow make him end up inside the top 10. So at his price, what is he, like 7,500?
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, 7,400.
Like that is absolutely disgusting, because I don't see any way that Logano isn't. He's definitely going to be a top 20 car, but I really think he's going to be a top 15, if not a top 10 car, just because of his crew chief. They're going to short pit every time. They're going to, like, it's just gross with Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano, both 35th, 36, cheap as hell. It's going to be hard not to play these guys.
I can't believe Brad Keselowski's 6,900 too.
I know. Like, I can see both of these guys easily finishing top 15.
Because Brad, I think low key is a decent road course guy, isn't he?
Yeah, and that's another team that plays really big into the strategy.
Yeah, and then Michael McDowell, I think the reason why he gets the high ownership is because he does have road course background too, doesn't he, Sterling?
Yeah, he was actually a road course instructor.
That's what I thought. So like he does know how to get around here, and he always seems to be there towards the end. So I see myself playing a lot of McDowell. I don't know how you feel.
It's this race is kind of gross with this lineup, because I kind of want to approach it like Atlanta or a Talladega or a Daytona, in the sense that I'm mainly looking for these PD guys. Now, I do think you are going to need one lap leader. So we're going to look at like Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, Chris Bell, someone like that, and then just jam in these PD guys. And the way pricing is, I can see this being a very ugly optimal lineup that leaves a shit ton of money left.
Yeah, I could see that too. Well, if you go Keselowski, even like McDowell, Briscoe, because Briscoe's another guy, kind of has a little bit of road course back now.
No, he came from dirt track racing.
He did come from dirt track, but he is a road course. He does seem to do well on road courses.
He does. But one thing I want to ask you, Tyson, is what are you seeing Ricky Stenhouse ownership at?
It's under 10% is what I'm seeing it, and his projection is not great.
That's actually one place that I'm going to look to get different. I love Ricky Stenhouse when it comes to these road courses. He's another one of them dirt guys, obviously. But these dirt guys seem to always find their way around these places, which kind of shocks me, to be honest. But he finished 7th here last season. He finished 37th in 2022. So that's something to keep in mind. But he's one of them guys that he's going to either go up there and he's going to finish top 15, top 10, or he's going to wreck out. So Ricky Stenhouse is a guy I'm definitely going to be over that 10%. But I wouldn't want to go more than like 20, 25% on him. But I'm absolutely aiming to be over the field on Ricky Stenhouse.
So you guys mentioned in the podcast the Rattled Cage Gilly 6,200. Does where he placed here change your opinion, or does it change it for the better, considering these PD guys are going to be important because of all the crazy penalties that we're probably going to see? And if Stenhouse at 30th gets sent to the back and he ends up 15th, it's still probably pretty damn good. But these guys in the top 10 or the top 5 or whatever, if they get sent to the back and they just can't make it back up there, it's going to be hard to get those points. So what about a guy like Gilly here? Are you still interested in him?
Yeah, he's another guy that I'm seeing projected for lower ownership. He's starting 26. Last season at COTA, he finished 10th. 2022, he finished 16th. Now, in 2023, overall through the road courses, he had an average finish of 21st. So, I mean, we're looking at him at least gaining spots, worst case scenario. Say he finishes 20th, that's 23 plus 6 points, so 29 points there. I don't think that'll be enough, but he's another one of these guys that they play this pitch strategy, and he's Michael McDowell's teammate. And we've seen Michael McDowell come out last season, and he was fast as hell at these road courses. And like we just said, Michael McDowell is a former road course instructor, so he's obviously going to give his teammates some tips here. So,
yeah, and any boost for both of these guys starting right next to each other or right behind each other or whatever. Any boost for teammates like that in this race?
Not really. No, I don't really see any reason there.
Got it. All right. Who else am I missing here? Like, I know we've talked about a lot of the guys that we like. What about some of these dudes that you're just not playing? Now, you mentioned you're going to be more spread out potentially. With this particular race, we're going to probably have to get a wider player pool here and spread ourselves out a little bit, but there's got to be at least a handful of guys that you're just not even considering playing.
How do you feel about Ryan Blaney? That's kind of an interesting one at 28th. Starting 28th.
With his ownership,
what's his ownership supposed to be?
I'm seeing him around 35.
22 over here.
He's one of them. I just don't picture him as a road course guy.
I don't either. But it's interesting with him starting the back. Harrison Burton, I think, is a guy that I'm really not interested in him, I don't think.
No, I don't really have any interest in like Daniel Hemrick or Timmy Hill or like some of these obvious guys for the most part. I'd say Austin Dillon's one guy I'm going to be very light on, if not full fade. Carson Hocevar, Justin Haley, like we said earlier, Corey LaJoy. Like, there's not really any like main. Like, I don't see anybody going to be high owned. Really don't want any of. It's kind of a really weird slate.
It really is.
It feels like a situation where get as many lineups as your bankroll will allow, as opposed to going heavy on higher dollar contests potentially. If you have if you got $100, instead of putting in 10 lineups in the big contest, maybe go out there and get the mini max and get as many 20 maxes as you can afford, sort of a situation in a race like this. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Anything else to add here? Anything jump out to you? We're going to get into our crown their ass, and then we're going to build a lineup together, and then we'll wrap this thing up. What else jumps out to you, man? It seems like Joey Logano is the guy, and we're going to want to get exposure to some of these dudes at the back of the field. Anything else jump out? Any weird names here? Any bold takes?
No, nothing I can really think of.
No, there's nothing jumping out at me.
All right, let's get into our Crown Their Ass segment. We usually do this for NFL Showdown, but we're going to adapt it here. This is basically Sterling and Ryan's, basically their conviction play, who they're going to be heavy on. So let's hit the sound here.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
Ryan, you're going Reddick. That seems to be the popular pick. That seems to be a guy that is probably has a very high ceiling, probably pretty high floor as well. Sterling, you're going out there a little bit with Bowman, but based on what you said, man, it seems like a pretty damn good play. So both you guys talk about your picks here.
Yeah, I mean Tyler Reddick just always seems to be fast on these road courses. I mean, he got his first win at was it Road America, I think, and he just seems to run good at road courses. How many wins does he have?
He's got 1, 2, 3 wins in the last 2 seasons. So 3 of the last 12 road course races he has won.
Yeah, and I listened to a podcast with him earlier in the week, and he said if he doesn't have a half second on the field, he'll be disappointed in himself. So he seems to have a lot of confidence in himself going into this weekend. So, starting third, he didn't have a half second on the field, but I still think he'll get up there, and I think he'll be good.
Yeah, I definitely can see that happening.
Yeah. What about Alex Bowman?
I like Alex Bowman because he had the 3rd fastest time in practice. And like I said earlier, he has finished top 3 in both of these next gen races at COTA. And he's one of them guys, he always seems to just be there at the end at these road courses. 7,700, starting 17th. I'm going to have me a lot of Alex Bowman.
So we're not going to do an official fade right now. Stay tuned for Sterling's write-up in the Discord. But, if you had to just kind of choose one guy right now on a Saturday night that you probably will be under the field on, it seems like kind of what we've been talking about here, William Byron starting up front might be the guy to make a decision on. Like, he's the guy that you're like, all right, I'm either going to fade him or maybe I'm with the field or maybe you love him. But it seems like the guy right now that we are thinking about potentially being under the field or fading, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, that's who I'm fading. Like I said, I'll probably make 10 or so lineups, and I don't know if I'll have any of them. So
anything before we move on to this lineup build, anything, and by the way, guys, throw us a like here. Let's get to 50 likes. We've done 2 videos, I think, so far. 2 NASCAR videos here with you guys, and we've gotten over 50 likes. So help us get to that again. We appreciate it. Before we build here, anything with these pit stalls and in this, like, is there anything that jumps out to you as being an advantage there?
Not really, no. Like,
got it.
I think for the most part we're going to see these guys short pit. I don't think we see too many cautions this race, so I don't think we're going to see guys pitting. But if they do pit road's going to be a shit show.
All right, let's get into a lineup build here. So let's build sort of your chalky single entry cashy type build. Let's start with that, and we'll pivot and we'll build a GPP lineup.
All right.
Let's aim for high ownership. Let's aim for guys that we think have a pretty reasonably high floor, and then we'll pivot a little bit for the GPP. Where are we starting here?
I guess we got to start with Logano, right?
I think so. I think so, man. Like, I'm seeing a ton of, I'm seeing a ton of Logano when I crunch here on a Saturday night. You guys are seeing that as well. Where the hell are you, brother? Actually, let me. You can't sort by starting position. That sucks. 7,400. Yeah, it's just too cheap. Just feels like it's too cheap. Who's next here?
All right, go ahead and pick somebody. Sterling. I pick Logano.
Let's go Michael McDowell.
Okay, I like that.
All right, we got plenty of salary. Is this a situation where even with our cash lineups, we're going to be leaving some money on the table, you think?
I actually don't mind that. I don't know how Sterling feels, but
I played around with their lineups earlier. I'm definitely going to have some that's leaving some, and I could see Cash leaving some too. Like, I sent these guys a double up earlier that left like 10K, so I'm not afraid at all to leave some salary.
So where are we going here? We got to go with our guys here, right? Like the Reddicks, these guys up here. You're seeing Byron as relatively owned? Where you said 25%? You're probably not playing him for your cash lineup, or are you?
I want it now.
I'm not.
If I'm playing one of them guys for a cash line, it's going to be Reddick or Gibbs.
Can we do both of them? Since we're doing cash and we don't need as high of a ceiling, we want to be a little safer. I know you'd mentioned maybe not doing that for GPPs. Is that worth doing for a cash build?
For a cash build, I think I'd rather focus more like PD here.
Got it.
Maybe
for
one
the
of them
upside.
guys.
All right. Well, we've got 8,000 remaining for 3 spots. So salary is probably not an issue. So where are we going now? You want to go some more PD guys? Bowman? Is he a cash play?
I love Bowman. Yeah. Sterling made some great points at him finishing in the top 3. Yeah, I think I'm going to be all over Bowman.
What about Busher? Is he one of these guys that's more angled towards the GPP play, or can we play him wherever?
You can play him wherever.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you could play him wherever. So I like that play too.
All right, we got 8,600. We can pretty much do what we want here. You're maxing it out around here, Suarez and Hamlin. But you go down a little bit, you see guys like Cindric, Keselowski leaving a little bit on the table, Bubba Wallace. What jumps out to you? Is this a Keselowski situation or Hamlin?
I would go either Keselowski or Eric Jones.
Jones?
Yeah.
Got it. So we got Logano, McDonald, Reddick, Bowman, Busher, Jones as just a tentative kind of chalky kind of build where you can start out with. All right, let's move to
I like that lineup.
Yeah. Let's move to
Nice
GPPs here. What's our strategy here? What do you want to do? You want to jam in Reddick, Gibbs, Bell, one of these core guys that we really want to get a lot of first?
So who's the lowest owned out of Reddick or Gibbs? Is it going to be Gibbs? I would say probably the lowest owned.
What are you seeing?
So like maybe start out with Gibbs and hope that Gibbs, because I think one of them is going to lead probably the most laps. I'd say out of Gibbs or Reddick.
I would agree with that.
Okay, so Gibbs is going to be the lower owned. So pivot off Reddick and go Gibbs. I'm thinking right.
Yeah, I like that.
All right.
PD guys, middle of the field type guys. Where are you going next?
Let's go get Ricky Stenhouse.
I like that. That's going to be really different.
All right.
Gibbs?
Is this a Bowman situation? You go on SVG, Allmendinger, Larson. I mean, I know Larson's expensive, but I think we probably could afford it if we just grab one of these value guys.
Yeah, we can go Larson. I like that.
What's Larson's at? Just out of curiosity.
I don't think it's that high. I think I don't remember. I have to switch tabs. What are you seeing over there, Sterling?
27.
Interesting.
Not terrible.
Let me see here. Let me look on my end. Yeah, like around 20.
Because like the only thing is with him winning the Xfinity race, I feel like more people will probably be on him.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So like, I still don't mind the play, but I feel like he might be a little bit higher owned tomorrow.
You want to pivot from Larson to Kyle Busch?
What about from Larson to Christopher Bell?
We could do that.
I mean, would that be a smart for you think? Or I mean, obviously Christopher Bell don't have the place differential, or would you pivot that and go Chase Elliott?
I like Chase Elliott.
Yeah, yeah. Let's go Chase Elliott.
All right, we keep talking about Bowman. I feel like Bowman is going to be one of these guys I have a shitload of.
Yeah, I feel like me too. I feel like I'm going to have Bowman in a lot of my lineups.
Is that where you want to go here? You want to try him here?
Yeah. Then what's Buscher's ownership? Did we say or did we see?
He's going to be pretty popular.
Is he?
Yeah.
23%. Okay.
Which is fine. I mean, I don't think it's a huge deal. We're literally we don't have Reddick. We don't have Larson. I mean, we're already pretty unique, you'd have to think here.
Yeah.
So eating the chalk with one of these dudes that with place differential upside is probably, is fine.
Yeah, I like that.
What about McDowell, though? I mean, there's just so many damn options here. I mean, there's just so many guys. I'm just like, this guy is this guy,
I like that. We can go McDowell here.
McDowell?
Okay.
All right.
So what's that leave us? 98.
98 Truex, Byron, SVG, Bush, Chastain, Dinger, Hamlin. You can do whatever the hell you want. You can even leave a bunch on the table and go down to Busher.
Yeah, you really could. I mean, Martin Truex, I feel like it would be a decent play, but
that would give us 3 guys inside the top 10, though. I don't really want to do that.
Yeah, that's a good point. SVG, I don't know if I really trust him here.
And if you max out your salary, in a big contest, I'm not sure what everyone else is going to do, but it feels like that's a duped lineup. It just probably is.
Kyle Busch wouldn't be bad here, I don't think. Kyle Busch or
let's since we're going GPP here, let's leave a little bit of money on the table and go down, get either Buescher or Logano or Briscoe or Keselowski or Jones. Any of them guys.
Yeah, pick your poison, man. Dealer's choice here. Gibbs, Stenhouse, Elliott, Bowman, McDowell, Buescher. We're jamming in a lot of guys that we've been obsessed over for this show. Feels like a pretty decent strategy. Sterling, when it comes to your groups, I know you talked about, the top, what did you say, top 5, 0 to 2, or is that top 10?
Top 10.
What other groups, just off the top of your head, obviously tune in to the Discord for his full write-up, but are you limiting the amount of PD guys you're getting? Is this like a 2 to 4 sort of PD group that you're setting up? Where are you going with other groups?
I haven't really got that far yet, but I'll probably have minimum of 2 guys starting outside the top 20. Most lineups I'll probably force in 3 guys starting outside the top 20.
Got it.
So you're going 2 to 3 outside the top 20.
Minimum of 2.
Minimum of 2, some up to 3. Okay.
Do you want to build a batshit crazy lineup before we wrap this up? Just something off the wall that just a shot in the dark kind of build?
Yeah, let's do it.
What do you guys think? Guide me. Where you going?
So off the wall, let's just go Stenhouse. I feel like Sterling's right with that. Where he could be optimal. And not a lot of people have him.
Let's go Stenhouse and Gilliland.
Ooh. So that leaves 9,500 per.
We'll leave like 10 grand on the table. I mean, we might as well try it and see what that looks like, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
All right, where are we going next?
Let's go Eric Jones again.
Okay.
10,000 per spot. You want to get one stud? Is this a Christopher Bell situation? We haven't really built with him. Is this we just want to jam in Reddick? You want to get one of our Gibbs or Reddick situations going?
Yeah, let's go with Reddick.
Yeah, we haven't really built with Reddick, even though I think he's probably going to be one of our highest owned guys. You'd have to think.
Definitely.
All right, so we got 2 spots with about 10.5K left. So maybe we want to leave some on the table and go a little bit different. Maybe go with one of these cheaper dudes. I just can't help with seeing Logano, seeing Bowman at their price. Is this a situation where you want to grab one of those guys or both?
Yeah, we could. I mean, we can do a lot from this point. We could even play like Larson and Dinger, get 2 guys that ran today. I kind of like the idea of that, actually.
Yeah, that's the thing with tomorrow's race. It's like there's a lot of quote unquote chalk, and there's a lot of place differential guys. And like you said, I would rather play more lineups and less money because I feel like a lot of these guys, you have a lot of dart throws that could pan out.
Yeah, there's so many ways you can build tomorrow. I would be willing to bet that 100K is soloed tomorrow.
So spread ourselves out, get as many lineups as your bankroll will allow. Try not to maybe max out the salary. If you're building in an optimizer, maybe cap it. If you're not doing a ton of different groups to get different, and you just want to, besides doing your geo mean own or whatever other math you want to do, if you just capped your salary, is that something that you guys will be doing potentially when you're hand building? Or are you trying to keep it under a certain salary?
Honestly, I'll probably play with a little bit of little bit of everything. I'll probably just do what we were doing tonight. I'll probably build one that's up to the salary and probably build one that's, you know, 5K under. And there's just so many ways to go. Yeah, it's crazy. This is going to be a crazy week.
I think I'm going to I'll definitely build some that uses a lot of the salary, but I'm going to have a lot that leaves a lot on the table. Looking back through 7 of the 12 next gen road course races, left 1,000 or more on the table. There was one that left 7,100, so don't be afraid.
Wow. Interesting. All right, what else did we learn for this? Anything else jump out to you guys?
Not really. Not really. Not a lot of practice, so we didn't really get to see a whole lot. But from what we saw, I think Ty Gibbs and Reddick are going to be the Pied Pipers.
Yeah.
It feels like shit's going to get crazy. It feels like somebody's going to be winning 100K with like 2 laps to go and then not even cash. You know, I mean, it feels like that's based on what we've seen so far this weekend. Hopefully you're not the guy that's winning 100K and then doesn't cash. Hopefully you're the guy who takes over for him. But make sure you guys jump into the Discord. You know, Dynasty DNA, that's in the description down below. The Edge DFS Discord is in the description down below. Like I said, we're doing UFL next week. Make sure you guys like the video. Anything else you guys want to plug before we get out of here?
That should do it.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys. Throw us a like on the way out. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you.